Hello, mate.
All right, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Yeah.
Very good answer. Very optimistic. What's been going on in your life then?
Nothing's been going on, dude. It's just been same old. Yeah, just more time off work, really.
You're just excited to see me this weekend. Is that it?
Exactly, mate. I can't wait to actually record in person and drink
Yeah.
gin. It's going to be
Yeah.
fun.
Uh, well, yeah, and do other stuff as well. But it will be a new era, won't it, of actually being able to sit down and talk and maybe actually record and video ourselves together rather than
Exactly,
over the
yeah.
screen. And maybe that will mean that audio will be better for any listeners.
We hope so, yeah, instead of sounding like we're underwater, which is what I think we sound like a lot of
What bubbling?
the time. Exactly. Help! Or whatever it might be. But yeah.
I don't even want to ask why you know the sound of help underwater.
Because I used to be a lifeguard, dude.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. The manslaughter case waiting to happen right there with you.
Yeah, negligence it's called.
That's it. So today, before we end up going off topic and talking about deaths underwater or whatnot, I wanted to talk about awkward situations. So I was actually really struggling thinking about them
Yeah.
when I mentioned it to you, but then I literally experienced the most awkward thing ever. So to begin with, I would probably say one of the most awkward things I've experienced, and not the most awkward, but a very common awkward occurrence, is basically someone talking to you and they've repeated what they've said about 3 times, and after 3 or 4 times you still don't know what they said, so you're just standing there going yes, and they're like, it wasn't a yes or a no answer question. What did like
Absolutely. I met an Irish guy at the gym I work in, and I was trying to get him signed up, and he was trying to tell me his surname. His surname was McCusker, and he kept saying McCusker with his really strong Northern Irish accent. I just couldn't get it. I was like, dude, just take the keyboards, type it yourself. Otherwise, we're going to be here all evening. But yeah, like, oh, just what? It's horrible because they'll be asking you your opinion on something. They might go, "Oh, what do you think of, I don't know, West Ham this season?" And I'll go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And they're like, "James, that's it? Yeah." So yeah, it's incredibly awkward, and I'm a socially awkward person at times, as you can see right now.
I was literally just about to say, we can tell. No, only joking. I
Yeah.
think everyone is socially awkward depending on the situation, because I think
Mm,
I personally have noticed that on my own. I'm socially awkward when it comes to situations that I'm not 100% comfortable in. So, say for example, the other day, my girlfriend mentioned something of basically, long story short, I've moved house not long ago, so I offloaded a load of my storage stuff to my parents that's just shoved in the loft whilst we're moving. So my parents got away for a week and they left a load of stuff on the side. So I went up to collect it and I was just looking through all that stuff if I needed it. So I was looking through some of the stuff and my girlfriend mentioned, have you got pictures of your ex? And I completely went and shut down and went, I didn't really know what to say. I was literally just like how I am now. So she picked up on it very quickly, and from there on it was just like, right, he's hiding something. And of course I didn't really have anything to hide. I've never been in a situation like that before, so I didn't really know how to act.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people act socially, I guess, awkward, is because they've never been in a situation, so they're not sure how to handle it best. Or that's one of the reasons, at least.
And the adverse effect off the back of that is that people will interpret you as being as hiding something. So in that situation, if she didn't know too much about your previous relationship, she might be like, well, why isn't he saying, oh yeah, it's just a picture or whatever, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I'm in a relationship where, like, there's stuff that you need to know about previous relationships, but there's stuff that you don't need to know. So I'm quite open about things. And she was just taking the piss, and she enjoyed me squirming and being like, I don't know.
Exactly, and you just get bullied for it. It's like, oh well, it is what it
I'll
is.
take it because I'll give it back.
Exactly, yeah, you'll give it back to her another time.
So another thing is forgetting someone's name. Again, having moved house and trying to come across new neighbours and meeting them, and they've already said their name about 3 times in the conversation because I said, and your name is, and your name was a couple of times, and at the end of the conversation, when it comes to it, it's like, fuck, I don't remember his name, and he's already said that 3 times. Don't know if you've ever had that with people signing up at the gym.
So many times. Like there have been people that I've signed up, and I met them. I said, hi, I'm James, and you're so and so. We elbow touch right now because of Corona. We can't shake hands, and they'll say their name.
Where the hand's been.
Exactly.
I don't know where your hand's been. That's more worrying.
And it's in the middle of Kent Town in Brighton, which is where all the gay people are. So you can only imagine where those things have been.
I don't really want to think about it.
I don't either. We make them use hand sanitizer when they get in, so just in case. Where was I going?
Well, how off topic that this got.
So yeah, you'll say, hi, I'm James. They'll say their name, and I'll go, okay, cool. Do my little sales thing, get them signed up, and I'll get some up, and I'll be like, shit, I'm so sorry. What's your name? And it will keep happening for weeks and weeks and weeks. As I see them, I'll go, oh, hi, mate. I know I should really know your name, but I don't. The worst is when you say it confidently, and you think that you've got it right. So you might say, oh, hi, Ben. They'll go, my name's Tom. And you're like, oh, fuck. And
oh, sorry, got you confused with someone else. Just
yeah.
as long as you play it off confidently afterwards, there's nothing there to make it awkward. It's like being socially awkward. Some people play it off confidently, so it seems like they're confident, but actually they play off the confidence from the social awkwardness. So they're actually socially awkward, just in a confident way.
Yeah, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Exactly.
It's like stupid people that can say so much stupid shit nowadays. But as long as they say it with confidence, there will be other stupid people that will believe them.
Unpopular opinion, but that's what people skills about.
Yeah, it's all about confidence.
Exactly. If you've got good people skills, you can say whatever you want to say, and you can actually succeed more than smart people by doing that because you can talk shit.
Yeah, but then it's also getting people on side to your ideas as well, because you can't just talk mad shit and just have people hating you and expect them to work with you.
I mean, have you seen the likes of Piers Morgan or Donald Trump or any sort of powerful?
Yeah, but
person?
You see the people that Piers Morgan works with on what's that fucking shit show? Good Morning Britain. They'll be kind of initially shocked by some of his comments, but they will laugh, and they seem to be genuine laughs. I don't know how believable that is, but they seem to like him, even though he is pretty controversial with a lot of the things that he says. So when you've got that, and you've also got the fact that he delivers things with such confidence, obviously there will be people that will still disagree with him, and that's fine. But the people that he works with, the host that he works with, I think will still have respect for him, even if they don't completely agree with him. And I think that's the key thing as well, is getting people to respect you as well.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I don't talk shit except on here, so I wouldn't really know much about it.
And we're just getting started, mate. And we're just getting started with all of this. But,
exactly. It's only us warming up.
Yeah, definitely. Like in the weeks to come, once we're filming in person and there's no Zoom delays, it'll be so much better because we can just immediately flow off of one another. But,
just shout at each other and do whatever. Not that we're aggressive or anything like that. I'm just saying you can't really do that.
Damn, you're a twat.
I can just imagine us sitting in my garden and then us just shouting in the peaceful streets of Guildford, and my neighbours are just being there like, what the fuck is going
Who
on
the
here?
fuck are these people? They've got through most of a bottle of gin. What is going on?
Yeah, that's going to be happening. Maybe not on Sunday, but it will definitely be happening on a more appropriate day, because some of us have work, unlike you.
I'm a dole bludger. That's what I do.
So went to Aldi the other day, and I had some change in my pocket, and because they don't necessarily do the self checkouts, so it came up to like $3.27 or something like that. Yeah. And I was adamant I had $3.27 and change. So I was standing there for about a minute and a half trying to find this £3.27.
Yeah.
Whilst this cashier and another like 6 people in the queue were just standing there waiting, and me just being like, yeah, don't mind me. Again, awkward situation.
Such a boomer.
I wanted to get rid of all my change because, when am I going to use it again? Like, especially now, I might as well use a place where it's going to actually accept it.
Exactly. Nobody is using change anymore, and that's been a downward trend for a while now. But what's even worse is when you do pay for something in cash, they'll put the note on your hand and then they'll put the coins on top of that. Because then how
do I manage this?
Exactly. How do I do this with just one hand and I've got shit in my other hand? So I've got to somehow try and transfer this, because I hate crumpling notes.
People who do that need to be put down.
People who crumple notes need to be put down.
Surely money is basically a way to pay for anything, and that's a way for you, a thing for you to respect. Why would you just scrunch it up like a piece of paper?
Oh, psychopaths. That's what they are.
I guess we're just peasants who respect money too much.
Exactly. When you get to a certain point, people are just going to be when you're Bill Gates rich, a tenner's just like a p, 1 pence to him. So you could be like,
you drop your wallet of, what was it? I think it was about 15 years ago, when he still had a very core involvement with Microsoft. I think they were saying that if he had a wallet with him, was it $1,500 or something like that?
Yeah.
Dropped it, he would have made the money back by the time he would have bent over and picked it back up again.
It wasn't worth his time to bend over to pick up that wallet of 1,500 quid or whatever it would be. That's how much money that man makes. Imagine that as Jeff Bezos, because his net worth is even more than Bill Gates was. That wallet would have to be even more stacked. Drug dealers will be incredibly jealous.
Why drug dealers? I'm not a drug dealer.
Because they carry around wads of cash, don't they?
Yeah, but anyone would be jealous of making that money.
Oh yeah, of course. But the point I'm making is that drug dealers carry around a lot of cash, and the likelihood of Bill Gates or whatever carrying around, I don't know, $5,000 in cash is never going to happen. That's a dream. That's basically what I was trying to get at in a roundabout sort of way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's but anyway, point being, another awkward situation was standing there trying to find change whilst you're trying to pay for something small, and it's just there like, shit, do I have enough? Do I not have enough? And then you end up not having enough, and you're like, can I pay this? And then the rest on card. And the cashier's there like, fuck's sake. All that time you couldn't even pay for it.
Exactly. I remember there was a brief time where I worked on a bar, and the number of people who just didn't understand the whole contactless card situation.
How long ago? Because contactless has been around for a few years, hasn't it?
It's been around. Yeah, my Wi-Fi's a bit crap. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Okay, cool. So my contactless has been around for a while now, but these were old people at this bar, and you'd serve them a drink or whatever, and some would just do that.
That is actually quite bad. Just continuously tap it on them.
Why isn't it working? Why? They did that, right? That was the most common one, and they blame it on me, like I'm the one responsible for it. Like all you need to do is just boop, and there you're done. But no, instead they're hitting it like, I don't know, like you're jabbing in boxing. But some people could take that sound out of context if you like. I promise nothing dodgy was happening there. I was just clapping.
It's a gay boomer bar. Is that where you worked at?
No, they were not, unfortunately.
Nothing wrong with gays. I'm just saying.
There is nothing wrong. I would have made way more tips than I actually did. But I know a guy who was a DJ in a gay club for 2 years and he never got hit on. That's how you know that man is ugly.
That's bad.
That's really bad.
That's bad. This is not a topic we're going to get into.
No, it's not. It's not. We're on dodgy ground here. Yeah.
Anyway, got another one.
Yeah, go for it.
So I was walking my dog the other day in the park, and you have like this basically big field, and in the middle you've got this like wooded area where you've got like a few benches and whatnot, and there was about a handful of girls, let's just say, right? And I'm walking with Bailey, and I'm thinking, oh, you know what? Yeah, I've got my dog. Yeah, we're just chilling, not really making anything of it, because I was listening to something, had my earphones in, and he's running around having the time of his life, and I'm walking, just minding my own business, and suddenly these girls are like waving at me, and I'm like, what? Do I know them? I wave back awkwardly,
yeah,
and then they're like looking around, and I'm thinking, what? That's just really weird, because they're like waving at me, and it's just really awkward. Anyway, a few seconds later, I look past me, and there's a group of lads which are waving back. Let's just say I wanted to get out of there as soon as I could.
So the number of times that happens to me in pubs, and you know, when I went to clubs more frequently, that happened all the time. Like girls would be waving to their friends, I'd be like, "Oh, hi," and then their friends would walk past me, and I'd be like, "Shit."
It's so awkward, isn't it? Because you don't want to come across as rude by ignoring them, or like I don't know, just being up yourself, I guess. So you're just trying to be friendly, so just like, oh, hi. I mean, I don't really know how to handle this situation. I don't usually get chatted up, so just kind of get on with it. And then it's like, oh, I wasn't. I was just being an idiot.
You were just getting curved awkwardly. But then I thought this is how I thought that story was going to go, right? I thought you were going to go, yeah, they waved me over, and then I thought your dog was going to go over and start humping them or something.
That wouldn't be awkward. I'd just be like, he knows what he wants. At 5 months old, I wouldn't be quite worried about that.
Only your son, Dan. Only your son would act like that.
I teach him normal things, I promise.
So yeah, when I click like this, you go hump the girl's leg. Yes, okay.
Well, when James does this noise, you go hump.
When James claps, you'd clap them cheeks. There you go.
That's brilliant.
That's awesome.
I don't know why it's me coming up with all these situations.
Yeah.
I feel like
I know. I'm trying to think through my memories for awkward situations. I've got one gym related, right? So you're squatting using a barbell, and it's a heavy weight, so there's a lot of force that you're applying onto the bar, and then as you start to come back up again, you let out the loudest fart that you've ever done in public since the age of about 5. And I get up, I rack the bar again, I look around to see if nobody's noticed. Everybody has noticed, and is staring at me.
I actually have been in that situation. That's the thing.
Oh, so many people have been in that situation, but they're not afraid to admit it. No, but they are afraid to admit it.
I don't give a shit. I remember standing there. It was actually at uni, And it was whilst the lecture was going on, so it was like half the gym was like taken up. So I was actually quite lucky that the lecturer let me use
Oh no.
the squat bar. And I just went down, and I remember me being down. I really struggled because I was just out of fitness, out of training. I don't know. It wasn't very fit. It wasn't that heavy a weight, which made it look even worse.
Mm.
So as I started getting back up, I was really struggling, and I felt just it come out of my bum. And I didn't really know how loud it was because I had my earphones in, but of course I knew that it came out. So I didn't make anything of it. And I was facing the wall because I didn't want to be distracted by anything.
Yeah.
As I turned around, I kid you not, I had about 20 people look at me, and I was just like, oh my God.
Just an entire class of people thinking, hang on, this man's just put in like a 10 out of 10 effort into the lightest weight possible whilst letting rip on the fattest fart I've ever heard in my life.
I was quite lucky though. It didn't smell, so.
Oh, just as well then. Which lecturer was it? Do you remember?
I was like strength and conditioning with Flo.
Oh, Flo's a lad. Flo would have been fine with it. I feel like Rob, Flo's kind of, he's kind of in his 30s, I think, late 20s, early 30s, and he's really chill lecturer. You've also got a guy called Rob Harley, who I kind of think of as like your awkward dad. Like he's such a dad figure. He reminds me of my dad a lot as a lecturer. So I feel like he would have tried to take the piss out of you and made a massive joke of it.
Luckily enough, it wasn't him.
Just as well then, otherwise you'd have been screwed and embarrassed for life. Was the class your year group though? Were they people that you knew? Or were they like
no? So this was in third year, so it was the first year class, so I had completely no idea who they were.
Oh well, that's just as well then, because if it was a class of people you knew, that would have just been even worse.
Yeah, I was quite lucky in that regard.
Yeah, it's just
it would have been better if it was like a masters group, because it would have been a smaller group and it would have just been people I've never seen around before. It would have been like, I don't know who you are, I don't really care.
Exactly.
But no, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse.
Exactly. Not like your social reputation's much to lose in the first place.
I don't know how to take that, but thank you.
It's a close-knit group. It's strong. That's what I mean.
Yeah, well, I prefer it that way. That's why it is that way.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all.
Next one is a really bad one.
Oh, go on.
And I don't really care. I'll just fucking say it. Have you ever clogged anyone's toilet?
I don't think I've clogged anyone's toilet. I think I've left skid marks.
Okay, well, I've been in a situation where I've clogged someone's toilet.
Oh my God. What were you eating? Just loads of red meat?
Just, I don't know, a korma with my stomach. It would have set the pace. No, I'm joking. I'm not that bad.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
It would, I don't know why I ate. I just remember really needing a toilet. So I was like, I'm just going to go to the toilet. Didn't make anything of it. All of a sudden, I'm having a very comfortable number 2. And I finished the business, pressed the button, and the button just flows up and up and up. And as it gets higher and higher, you know that hopeful moment where you're like, please go down at some point, and you lose hope with every second that it goes higher and higher. And I was just there. I was like, right, okay. Because it was only that far off. So it was only about an inch off the top, so of actually overflowing.
Mm.
So I was just there like, crap, do I press it again and run the chance of it going down? Or do I take the risk of like just leaving it?
What you should have done was you should have got that brush thing and then just tried to break it up.
Yeah, I tried doing that. Did
No?
not help. No.
How did you resolve this then? Just a cup and throw it in the sink?
Do a Borat and wash your face with it.
Very nice, very nice.
I'm the king of the castle, king of the castle. I basically ended up walking because it was really bad. 16 and I was at my mate's. So of course he was still living at his parents'. So I literally had to walk out. And I went out and said, I think you've got a problem with your toilet. So I never actually took any sort of accountability on it. And then I don't remember how that resolved.
God.
But a few weeks or days later, I went back and the dad called me big shit man.
Big shit man.
So I don't think I was very popular in that household anymore.
Oh God. You need to change your Instagram to big shit man. Oh God.
Is that going to be the nickname now?
Oh, oh man, it's very possible. That's mad. I can't say I've ever clogged anyone's toilet. I'll give you a really shitty story from when I worked as a lifeguard. So part of our job was we also had to go through and clean changing rooms and the toilets as well and things. And this kid with his carer had obviously been into one of the toilets. And I kind of went in to clean it, and I saw some poo on the seat around the rim, on like kind of down the side of it, and on the floor, and somehow on the wall as well. What I want to know is how this giant lump managed to make its way onto that wall, and I had to go and clean that up, all of it.
Yeah, vile.
It's fucking vile, man. That was the least, easily the least pleasant experience of my life. Solid hour.
Did you have to go and confront anyone? Was that awkward, or was it literally just you're diverting from one shit story to another shit story?
So just before I saw this monstrosity, I saw this kid who clearly had learning difficulties of some kind, and his carer kind of meekly taking him out as quickly as possible. And there's nothing you can really do in that situation. You can't confront a mentally a kid with learning difficulties and be like, you fucking asshole, you prick. You've just got to be like to the carer, what the fuck. But you know, it is what it is, really. That's probably one of the easily one of the worst experiences of my life. We've gone from most awkward. It's combined with my most awkward and my worst experience, having to clean poo for an hour.
I was going to call it your shittest experience. Quite literally.
It is quite literally my shittest experience. Yeah. What else have you got for me?
Well, especially during Corona, having team meetings over like Zoom or Skype or Teams or whatever, you talk and then someone else talks, and then you're like, you pause at the same time and you start talking again at the same time, and then you pause and like, oh no, you go on, and the other person's like, oh no, you go on, and then both you start flipping talking again at the same time, and it's like, right, well, I'm just going to be quiet for a minute, and then that person is being quiet because he's thinking you're going to talk again, and it's just a constant like cycle of not really being able to talk. So you're just there like, can I talk now? No, not. And it's dead silence, and everyone's sat there like waiting, and it's like, this 3 seconds are the longest of my life. Can someone make a noise, please?
Exactly. Like Zoom meetings in general are the worst, which is why I can't wait for us to go and film in person, so we don't need to kind of worry about speaking over one another, because there's a little bit of a delay sometimes, and that's really awkward. But do you keep your camera on in your Zoom meetings?
I've never had it on. So
really?
I mean, I don't remember the last time I was in office attire. So I just get up, walk the dog, and in the same clothes, I just sit and do work. So I don't know if you want to call me lazy or not, but I don't really want people at work looking at me and then basically commenting on how scruffy I look because I haven't had a haircut in whatever long, or how long my beard looks. It's like, well, it's my choice. So fuck you, people at work.
My body, my choice, and all that. But the reason why I asked was because I would have these team meetings as well during the lockdown. and I was the only one with my camera off. So very quickly I was like, oh shit, there's a bit of social pressure here to have to turn it back on.
Mm.
But the good thing is that they were all in like t-shirts and hoodies and things as well, so that didn't make it so bad. I can't believe people that you work with would be in like office attire as well, surely.
I don't know. I know because, of course, in the nature of business that I work with, I mean, not that it would be, you need to be FBI nowadays to find out, but auctions. So with auctioneers, they of course would have to be quite presentable because they're sat in front of a camera.
Right.
But other than that, I can't really imagine much more. Many more people would actually dress to sit behind a computer screen. I don't know. Some people probably would because that puts them in the work mentality. But no, I think any sane person would just sit there in their own clothes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can't believe that people would like really care about that. I think everyone's very understanding of the fact that we're just working from home and like there's no need to do that. Unless you're like trying to make like a big sale to somebody, you would probably want to dress up a bit nicer.
There's a time and place, though, isn't there? If you're doing a normal day to day, what's the point? But if you're
Exactly.
trying to win some new business or whatever, big meeting, I don't know. There's a time and place. So
Exactly. You've just got to judge it and be smart about it.
exactly. So next one, saying goodbye to someone and walking the same way, the same direction as them, and it's like, oh, we're going the same way.
Exactly. I had this when a friend came to stay with me. She's from New Zealand. We lived together in Germany, and she came to stay over a weekend. And we had this big goodbye on like a Saturday night. And she was saying, okay, I'm going to go to London tomorrow. And I had to go to work early in the morning, so I wouldn't be able to say goodbye to her. So we had this big goodbye on the Saturday night. And I come back home and she's still there. And, I have no problem with her staying for another day whatsoever. It's completely cool, but I just wasn't expecting it. I was like, oh, I thought you would have left. And she was like, no, I had to wait another day because of accommodation and things. So she ended up leaving the following day. But we had this big emotional goodbye and everything, and then we had to go through the whole thing again.
Yeah, I think it's really awkward when you don't really know someone. Like if it's someone that you know and it's like a close mate, it doesn't really matter. Like you'll deal with it. But if it's like someone that, like a neighbour, for example, or a really distant family member or something like that, where you're like, oh, bye. And then you're like, oh, by the way, I parked my car next to yours. So you're still walking next to each other for the next like few minutes. It's like,
and then you've got to make small talk and conversation with them, and it just doesn't flow anymore.
No, so I think that's really, really awkward. I mean, I was quite lucky enough that I don't have a social life to be able to come across that too often. But it's really awkward when you do come across it. It's just, yeah, don't really have anything else to say to that.
Not fun, exactly. And if you still had met if you'd met that person for the first time that day, and you hadn't really, let's say you hadn't clicked or whatever, you're all right, and then you have to go through that awkward thing again. It just makes it 10 times more awkward than if you met that day and you got on really well, if that makes sense. Because you're like, oh great, this has already been an hour-long awkward interaction, and now I just have to extend it for this 2-minute period of time, but it feels like 2 hours.
Yeah, definitely.
Ugh, not fun.
Sex scenes.
Sex
when you're there with your parents.
I was wondering where you were going with this. Yeah. I'll give you one. I'll give you a story. Watching, Ted.
Yeah.
When I think I would have been 14, and my sister was 12. There's a scene where Ted, the teddy bear, like rails this girl in the back of a supermarket, and I was like 14, so I was already incredibly uncomfortable. And I look over at my mum, and her eyes are like this. She's so shocked by it. And then I look over at my sister, and she's like, "Oh fucking hell, really?" It was so bad. But now I'm fine with it. Now it's not a problem for me.
No, I think it's the teenage years that make it really awkward. because it's very new to the person in their teenage years, and they don't know how to like act because they don't really want their parents to know what they know and what they don't know. So it's just one of those things that I remember. My dad was really cool about it. It wouldn't be comfortable watching like weird stuff like that go on, but it wouldn't also be extremely uncomfortable. Whereas with my mum, I remember there was American Pie or something like that on TV, and was it Jim fucking the pie? And it was just like so awkward. I remember, because when that happens, you try and almost pretend that you're not seeing it. So you just pretend like you're on your phone, or that you've got something else going on in the room. It's just like the most awkward situation to be in.
Exactly, yeah. Like you're trying to deny that. Oh no, I don't think, I never thought like this. I would never think like that, or whatever. And deep down, they know that you definitely, you definitely were inclined towards that or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I think the next one we'll probably do it as the last one because we've been going on for a while now. But having darker humor than the people around you.
I love that. I relish that. I don't find that awkward at all, right? So I feel like I've pretty dark humor, and I can joke about a lot of things. And some of the things I've said to people like around my family as well, who aren't that way inclined at all. Well, I don't know how I'm the one in my family that has particularly dark humor. Yeah, and just to see their faces, their horrified faces. You're right. It is a little bit awkward when no one laughs, but
I'm very much the same. Well, so I think my line is a lot more sensible than yours.
Oh yeah, I'm just all over the shop.
But if you make the joke and no one really laughs, or again, it's a very socially awkward situation. It's the most awkward situation to be in. I think it's one of the worst, where you're just there like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. Or
yeah, but you know what? It gives me so much respect for stand-up comedians, because they have to go through years they have to go through years of just being shit and not funny, and having nobody laugh before eventually they get to a point where it all just clicks together. And that must just be so uncomfortable, just bombing constantly. Like Bill Burr did stand-up comedy in clubs for years, for like a good decade before he made it. And so that was, if you think about it, that's just 10 years of bombing. That's brutal.
Yeah, I don't know. I've stopped being the person that I would be, say. There's almost like, I don't know if you've heard Goffman's theory. Basically, he's saying that you've got different masks on depending on who you're with. So basically, you've got a front stage and a backstage. Backstage being more like who you would be around family and closer friends, because that's who you basically are. Whereas you, in the front stage, you would be like that in front of people at work, or people a little bit more distant that you don't want finding your true self out, if you can say that. So with this theory, I would probably put myself in a situation where I've got the front stage mask on most of the time, unless I am with close friends or with family. And even with family, I try to censor quite a lot of the stuff that I say, because I've got two younger brothers. So it's like, I've got to be a role model, whatever that means to them. It's very different, because I feel like I've got a mask for when I'm with my close friends, when I'm with my family, when I'm at work, when all these different situations. I'm sure loads of other people do as well. So I don't have the balls to basically go and make a racist joke, or not a racist joke or homophobic jokes, but something that I'll find funny to a certain extent. I'm not going to go completely slating any sort of person. If it's actually funny, I'll find it funny. But Sorry, you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to say what I think what you're trying to say is that you would say a joke that could be characterized as being racist, even though that's not your intention. Is that right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be going and saying, really horrible homophobic or racist things. That's out of line. And that's what I've said. I think my line is quite sensible, where I can laugh at things and not be offended at things. And I think that's what comedy is finding things offensive, isn't it? That's one of the core things, that being able to take offense onto things.
Exactly. And the whole point of comedy is I think, is to be dangerous and to be saying things that are a bit edgy and a bit out there that people may not necessarily think to say. I say this with zero comedy experience whatsoever, but you get the point though, that you should be willing to take those risks. But I completely get why people censor themselves, and I censor myself as well in my job as well. Like I'm not going to say some of the edgier shit that I say because on here, for example, because I still would like to have money. I don't want to be at risk of saying something and getting in trouble with HR or whatever. It's easier for me to just keep my head down and to just to and these aren't major changes, by the way. It's just cutting down on a lot of the edgier jokes. You can still make jokes about some things. I made jokes about, like, I was doing research and this guy's picture came up and I went, he looks funny, and my colleague was like, yeah, they look funny. But you get the point. I'm not completely censoring.
No, it depends what sort of environment you're in, I guess, at work. If you feel kind of comfortable that people will find you funny and not find you offensive, then that's great, because I think the more personality you show at work, the better. I'm all for it. I think that it's a shame that we have to censor ourselves, or personally, I've got to censor myself as much as I do and can't show off my personality, in my opinion, because that way I'm not being my true self. So yeah, it's frustrating, but I think that theory definitely works.
For sure. And there will definitely be a spectrum to which you will censor yourself, obviously. So like when I'm in any new environment, it takes me a little bit of time to be able to really open up and express myself. Like give it like 2 or 3 weeks or so, and then I'm kind of starting to hit my stride. But initially I will be, down the middle and as neutral as I can be on a lot of things where it's reasonable to be, because at that point you're brand new to something, you don't want to rock the boat too much. Whereas when you're a bit more set in something, then and you've got people on side, then you're able to express yourself more. Or if you're just in a position of power, like where you're where you're higher up in a company, and there's a lot less personal risk to you being able to properly express yourself.
So yeah, I definitely agree. The position of power kind of dictates quite a lot of it, doesn't it?
It does.
If you're in a powerful position, you're not so scared to, like you said, not earn a wage anymore. So you just express yourself a little bit more, and that's where people tend to speak out when they're in positions like that. Whereas the people lower down, they're just kind of like, oh well, I just want to get paid, so just get on with it.
Exactly, they can't afford to take that risk, because you've also got to consider that powerful person will have other opportunities waiting for them should they lose that position or whatever. There will be other positions available for them because they've developed and cultivated a specific skill to get them there in the first place. Whereas somebody lower down will not have that skill to the level to which they're as highly sought after, if that makes sense. So their position is a little bit more rocky, and so they have to be more careful. And so that can also dictate people's the way people conduct themselves, I think.
Yeah. Well, we turned into a very deep conversation after.
I like it, though.
Yeah, it was very, very pleasant. So I think that was a good ending to a very silly start and very good ending.
Exactly.
So
yeah. We worked our way into it.
yeah, thanks to all the viewers and listeners for tuning in yet again. And we'll have a new podcast on Monday where hopefully James and I will be recording it face to face, as well as the Friday one, which will be, as we already mentioned, the start of a new era. So thanks for listening yet again, and tune in for the next episode.
Yes, see you then, guys. Cheers.